When so-called Islamic State wanted to kill Kocha and her husband Mahmoud, they fled with their children to Mount Sinjar. The mountain in northern Iraq is regarded as sacred by the Yazidis.
Mount Sinjar saved a lot of Yazidis when no one else was helping us.
Her husband made it to the mountain, but Kocha and the children were abducted by IS. They were enslaved, raped, and sold time and again like animals.
If it weren't for the children, I'd have killed myself.
After 2 years, Kocha and her 5 youngest children were finally released. But one older daughter and 2 older sons are still missing. In the mornings after they get up, Basima, Jihan and Hanan like to play in their homemade kitchen. It includes a fridge and tables.
When we were with IS, they didn't give us anything to eat. They were evil. They kept on helping themselves to the girls.
In the tent, Kocha prepares bread dough. She doesn't want to leave the mountain. It's the only place in Iraq she feels safe. She is still traumatized by her experiences, as well as by the thought that 3 of her children are still prisoners of IS. Kocha only knows that her 15-year-old daughter Avin was forced to marry an IS fighter. She has no idea what's happened to her 2 older sons.
I can't think of anything else. I'll be working on something, then leave it for a moment, and I'll forget all about it. It's awful. Sometimes I'll be cooking something on the stove and let it burn. I'm just not normal in the head anymore. I went to the doctor, but they said it didn't matter what medicine I took. It wouldn't help, because I just think too much.
Kocha wants to stay strong for her children's sake. Working helps her get through the day. The family was given 20 sheep by an aid organization. They use the ewe's milk to make yogurt. The money they earn from selling it is their only source of income.
The animals mean a lot to us. They keep us busy and distract us.
Her husband, Mahmoud, drives the flock up the mountain to graze. During Kocha's imprisonment, Mahmoud helped to defend Mount Sinjar against IS forces. Back then, he didn't know if his family was alive or dead. The couple rarely talk about what they experienced. They're too preoccupied with trying to discover the fate of their 3 missing children.
We ask around everywhere. We even ask aid workers and people smugglers who free abducted people whether they can help us. Believe me, whenever someone's freed, I go there the same day or the next morning at the latest, and I ask about my children.
But so far, his efforts have been in vain. Over 2,000 Yazidi families live on Mount Sinjar, and almost all have family members missing. A few months ago, a childcare facility was set up at this camp. It's open for 2 hours a day. Today, 8-year-old Hannah reads out what's written on the board.
We learn to read here, so I can help my father, who can't read.
But most of all, the social workers want the children to have fun.
I try to make them forget about what's happened to them. I try to distract them. I don't treat them as if they've been through a bad experience. When they come here, we act like nothing has happened. We don't discuss their past.
Sometimes Kocha has no idea how to ease her children's pain. They all suffer from nightmares. The IS men kept taking the children to make Kocha obey them. They were held in a cellar without any light for months on end. In desperation, she tattooed their names on their arms, using a nail and ash for ink.
I did it so that they wouldn't forget their names. When they took the children away from me, IS would give them new names. But then the leader said, if I see a name on an arm, I'll cut off that arm. So I stopped. Look here, I only did half her name.
Mahmoud has taken precautions to ensure that his family will never go through anything like this again. He's got a Kalashnikov hidden in the closet. Next time, he says, he won't be afraid to use it.
I've learned from the past. We trusted our neighbors then. They said they were our friends, but they killed us Yazidis. I need a weapon to defend my family. We're afraid.
While the family is eating lunch, Mahmoud is called outside. German aid agency Welthungerhilfe is looking for workers at the refugee camp. The men can earn $300 in 6 days. But some of the men here aren't on the list, Mahmoud included. He's frustrated.
We've waited a year for an opportunity like this. We need the money. We can live off it for up to 2 months.
Mahmoud goes with the other men to the aid agency's tent. A sizable crowd has gathered, and the project manager is having a hard time keeping a handle on the situation.
The people up here on the mountain don't want to work in the villages down below because they're scared something will happen to their families while they're gone.
Eventually, Mahmoud is told that he has one of the jobs. It starts tomorrow. But today he's promised Kocha that they'll go and see their old house, in their car, which he managed to salvage. Leaving the mountain isn't easy for Kocha. Items that the Yazidis left behind 4 years ago in their panic to flee from IS forces still litter the roadside. Kocha's escape attempt also ended here. The route to their old village passes through Sinjar, once the capital of Iraq's Yazidi community. Around 70% of its buildings have been destroyed.
I don't care about the destroyed buildings. What's awful is that they gave 6 or 7 or 8-year-old girls to 10 or 12 men, and that an IS fighter gets a 10-year-old girl pregnant. That's the worst thing.
Their home village, Rambusi, is deserted. It was one of the first villages taken by IS. Their house has been wrecked and looted.
Everyone's gone.
They'd invested all their savings in this house. Mahmoud earned good money working as a foreman. They say their Muslim neighbors helped IS. One of their abducted daughters was abused for months in the building across the road. There's no way Kocha and Mahmoud would live here again.
We have nothing in common. A lot of Muslims still live in the next village. We Yazidis will never be able to live with Muslims again after what happened.
They were all with IS or supported them. Plus, they weren't driven out. Only God can avenge us.
And then she takes a video on her cell phone. She wants to show the children their old house. It's very quiet in the car on the return trip. They pass by thousands of tents, the makeshift homes of other Yazidis who are too afraid to return to their villages. As soon as they arrive, 10-year-old Jian wants to see the pictures. She's homesick.
Is that her cupboard?
That was for the TV.
And where's the water tank?
They took it too. That's all that's left.
In the evening, Kocha is outside, preparing the beds for the night. It's too stuffy inside the tent. Her family has lived on Mount Sinjar for 2 years now. The mountain has been their refuge, but they don't intend to stay here.
When, God willing, our children come back, we'll leave Iraq. We'll go somewhere else. We're done with Iraq. We've suffered too much here.
Kocha and Mahmoud have applied to an aid program that would enable them to go to Australia. But leaving now would mean giving up hope. And it's the hope of seeing their missing children again that keeps them on the mountain.